The galaxy was vast, shining with billions of stars and countless worlds. Among them was a peaceful race known as the Thalren, tall, blue-skinned beings with gentle minds and kind hearts. They had no armies, no warships, and no soldiers. They believed in peace, trade, and science. For thousands of years, they lived without conflict, trusting that the universe would remain kind to them. But the universe is not always kind. From the dark edges of space came the Varth Dominion, a race of conquerors. They were ruthless, spreading across systems like fire through dry grass. Their war fleets destroyed cities, captured entire planets, and enslaved anyone who resisted. When the Varth came to the Thalren worlds, they demanded surrender. The Thalren tried to reason with them, offering trade and peace. But the Varth did not understand peace. They only understood power. Within months, the Thalren Confederacy began to fall. One world after another was taken. Their crystal cities burned. Their people fled underground. The skies above their homeworld, Thalren Prime, were filled with fire and smoke. The Thalren Council, desperate and heartbroken, decided to do the only thing left: send a message. A single signal, sent into deep space. It was not a call for war. It was a call for mercy. To any who can hear this, said High Scholar Lyran, her voice trembling but calm. We are the Thalren. Our people are dying. We ask not for vengeance, only for mercy. If there is any among the stars who still believe in compassion, please help us. The message traveled through the galaxy, jumping from relay to relay. It crossed star systems, past ancient ruins, drifted through nebulae, and reached civilizations far away. But most races ignored it. Helping the Thalren would mean angering the Vorith, and no one wanted to risk their own survival. For days, the message echoed unanswered. Until it reached a small, blue planet on the edge of the Milky Way. Earth. Humanity had only recently joined the galactic community. Other species viewed them with a mix of curiosity and fear. Earth was known as a death world, a planet where storms could crush mountains, beasts could kill with one strike, and disease could destroy civilizations. To survive there, humans had evolved to be strong, stubborn, and unpredictable. They were considered too aggressive, too emotional, and too dangerous. But they were also something else, compassionate. When the Thalren's message reached the United Earth Command, it was received by a monitoring station on the moon. The message was translated, and within hours it reached the desk of Commander Elias Ward, a veteran officer known for his calm leadership. He listened to the recording in silence. The voice of Lyran echoed softly through the room, tired, desperate, and sincere. When the recording ended, there was a long pause. One of the officers turned to Ward and said quietly, "Sir, we can't help them. The Varth Dominion is massive. Their fleet could crush ours in a day." Ward looked out the window at the blue curve of Earth below. "Maybe," he said. "But if we ignore this, what does that make us?" The officer hesitated. "Practical, sir." Ward shook his head. "No, cowards." He stood, his face set with quiet determination. "Prepare a response. Tell them Earth heard their call." Within hours, the message was sent back across the stars. "This is Commander Elias Ward of the United Earth Command. We received your call for help. You are not alone. We are coming." The Thalren, hiding in their underground shelters, could hardly believe it. Many wept in relief. Others were afraid. Could this small, unknown world truly stand against the Vorith? Lyran whispered to herself, "We asked for mercy. But who are these humans?" Days turned into weeks. Then, one night, the skies above Thalren Prime burned again. But this time, with light that was not Varth fire. Human ships had arrived. They were unlike anything the Thalren had seen. Sleek, dark vessels with bright blue engines, built for speed and war. Their hulls bore the symbol of Earth, a small globe surrounded by stars. The lead ship was named UEC Resolute, and on its bridge stood Commander Ward. He looked at the fleet of Vorath warships surrounding Talon Prime. The Vorath ships were larger, heavier, and more advanced, but Ward didn't care. He had come too far to turn back. "Open a channel," he ordered. The Vorath commander appeared on the screen, tall, armored, and smiling cruelly. "You dare enter our space, human?" The alien growled. "Leave now or be destroyed." Ward's voice was calm and steady. "We are here under the call for mercy from the Thalaran Confederacy. Withdraw your forces immediately." The Vorath laughed, a harsh, echoing sound. "Mercy? There is no mercy in this galaxy." Ward gave a small nod. "Then we'll have to make some." He turned to his crew. Fire. The first human salvo struck like thunder. Railgun rounds, traveling at near light speed, tore through Vorath shields. Explosions filled the blackness of space. The Vorath fleet, confident in their power, was caught off guard. Their ships began to fall one by one, shattered by precision strikes. Inside the Resolute, crew members worked in perfect rhythm. Humans, machines, and I all united with one purpose. The battle was fierce, but short. Within minutes, half the Vorath fleet was burning, and the rest fled into hyperspace. Down on Talon Prime, the Thalaran watched in awe. The night sky glowed with fire and light, but for the first time in months, those flames brought hope. When the fighting ended, the humans did not land as conquerors. They came down with medical teams, food, and engineers. They helped rebuild the destroyed shelters. They carried wounded Thalaran to safety. Their actions spoke louder than any words could. High Scholar Lyran met Commander Ward on the surface. He removed his helmet and looked at her, a simple human standing on alien soil. "You came," she said softly. "Why? We have nothing to offer." Ward smiled faintly. "You asked for mercy, and mercy doesn't ask for payment." That night, the Thalaran celebrated for the first time in years. Across the galaxy, whispers began to spread about the Deathworlders who had answered a call for help. Some called them dangerous. Others called them heroes. But one thing was certain. The galaxy had called for mercy, and the Deathworlders of Earth had answered. The battle for Talon Prime had ended, but its memory stayed bright in the hearts of all who saw it. The Thalaran, once helpless and afraid, now looked up at the stars with new hope. The humans, the so-called Deathworlders, had done what no one else dared. They had faced the Vorath Dominion and won, yet victory brought more than relief. It brought attention. In the far reaches of the galaxy, the name Earth spread quickly. Traders whispered it with awe. Diplomats spoke it with fear. The Vorath, furious at their defeat, swore revenge, and among the Thalaran, a quiet gratitude grew, mixed with curiosity. Who were these humans who fought like storms yet spoke like friends? Commander Elias Ward stood on the bridge of the UEC Resolute, looking out at the planet below. The once blue world of Talon Prime was scarred with blackened cities and broken towers, but rebuilding had begun. Human engineers worked side by side with Thalaran builders, using machines and bare hands alike. A young officer approached him. "Sir, reports say the Thalaran Council wants to speak with you again." Ward nodded. "Patch it through." The main screen flickered, and High Scholar Lyran appeared, her calm face filled with gratitude. "Commander Ward," she began, "our people owe you more than we can ever repay. You gave us a second chance." Ward smiled faintly. "You don't owe us anything, Scholar. We just answered a call for help." She tilted her head slightly. "Most species ignored our message. The Vorath are feared by all. Why didn't you ignore it too?" Ward's expression turned serious. Because someone has to stand up to monsters. We've lived with danger all our lives on Earth. Our planet tried to kill us long before any alien ever could. We learned one rule. You don't walk away when someone's being hurt. Liren was silent for a moment. Then she bowed her head. Perhaps that is why you are called Deathworlders. Not because you bring death, but because you survive it. Days passed, and the humans helped rebuild. Thalran children followed human engineers around, watching in amazement as they worked. Soldiers shared stories of their home, of oceans, mountains, and rain. For the first time in years, the Thalran heard laughter again. But far away, the Vorath Dominion was not idle dot in the dark space near the Vorath core system. Their leader, Overlord Kareth, roared in anger. They are insects from a dying world. Yet they dare challenge us? His command hall shook with his fury. One of his generals bowed low. The humans are different, my lord. Their ships are smaller but powerful. Their weapons strike harder than expected. Kareth snarled. Then we will crush them harder. Send the message. Gather every fleet. We will burn Earth itself. Back on Thalon Prime, the peace was short-lived. Human satellites detected movement near the edge of the system. Vorath reinforcements. Dozens of ships were closing in fast dot inside the Resolute. Alarms echoed. Multiple signatures incoming. At least 3 capital ships and 20 escorts. Ward stood firm. Prepare for battle. Evacuate the Thalran civilians. We hold orbit until they're clear. The crew obeyed without hesitation. They knew the odds, but they also knew who they were. Humans didn't run when lives were on the line. The Resolute's engines flared to life. Joining 2 other Earth ships, Horizon and Tempest, in a tight defensive formation above Thalon Prime. Below them, Thalran transports rushed to evacuate cities. When the Vorath fleet arrived, it filled the sky like a wall of darkness. The Vorath commander's voice echoed across the comms. This time, human, there will be no mercy. You will die with these weaklings you protect. Ward answered calmly. Then you'll learn something about humans. We don't die easy. The second battle of Thalon Prime began. Vorath cannons lit up the void, hurling beams of plasma and fire. Human ships weaved through them with sharp, unpredictable movements. Railguns answered back, punching holes through the Vorath's front line. Inside the Resolute, the bridge shook as explosions flared outside. Shields at 40%. A crew member shouted. Ward's voice cut through the chaos. Hold position. The transports aren't clear yet. Every second mattered. On the surface, Thalran children ran toward waiting ships, guided by human soldiers who refused to leave anyone behind. The sight of humans standing in front of Vorath fire to protect alien civilians would become legendary in the years to come. As one Thalran elder later said, we had heard of mercy, but that day we saw it. After hours of fighting, the battle reached its peak. The Horizon was heavily damaged, its engines failing. Vorath ships surrounded it, preparing to finish it off. Ward's eyes hardened. Bring us about. Full power to forward shields. Sir, that'll expose us. Do it. The Resolute roared forward, slamming into the Vorath formation. It took heavy hits, but its railguns tore through enemy ships, creating an opening for Horizon to escape. The maneuver cost the Resolute half its armor, but it saved hundreds of lives below. Finally, when the last Thalran transports lifted off safely, Ward gave the order. All ships jumped to deep space. We'll regroup at Station Helios. The humans in Thalran escaped just as the Vorath flagship exploded, filling the sky with a wave of orange fire. Thalon Prime was safe again, but the cost was high. Dozens of human pilots were lost, and the Resolute itself was badly damaged. After the battle, Ward sat in the medbay, his arm bandaged. Liren entered quietly. "You saved us again," she said softly. "Why do your people fight so hard for others?" Ward looked at her with tired eyes, but a small smile. "Because someone once told us that strength means nothing if you only use it for yourself." She looked around at the injured humans, working and laughing despite the pain. Then maybe mercy does wear armor after all. Across the galaxy, news spread once again. The humans had survived a second Vorath attack and still protected the weak. The story traveled from world to world, and for the first time in centuries, smaller species began to believe they too could resist tyranny. But the Vorath were not defeated yet. Overlord Kareth now gathered an armada, larger than anything ever seen. His goal was clear: destroy Earth and erase humanity from existence. As the Resolute limped back toward soul space, Ward stood at the viewing deck, watching the stars drift by. He knew war was coming, not for Thalon Prime this time, but for Earth itself. Still, he smiled faintly. "They wanted mercy," he said quietly. "We'll show them what that really means." The galaxy had begun to change. Empires that once ruled through fear now trembled. And the name Earth, once unknown, now carried a new meaning: hope with fists of steel. Because when humanity answered a call for mercy, they never came empty-handed. They came with fire, courage, and hearts that refused to surrender. For years, humans had lived with storms that could crush cities, predators that could kill with one strike, and diseases that could wipe out civilizations. On their death world, they had learned one rule: survive, adapt, and fight for what matters. Now, the galaxy was about to witness the full extent of that rule. Commander Elias Ward stood on the bridge of the repaired UEC Resolute. Around him, the Earth fleet had grown. Dozens of battle cruisers, hundreds of smaller ships, all coordinated with precise efficiency. Human engineers had modified alien technology, making their railguns faster, their shields stronger, and their drones smarter. Every ship, every pilot, every weapon was ready. "Sir," a young officer said nervously, "the Vorath Armada is entering soul space." "Their numbers?" "They are massive. Thousands of ships." Ward nodded, eyes focused on the holographic projection of the approaching fleet. "Numbers don't win wars," he said calmly. "Strategy and courage do." Behind him, Earth cities glimmered with defensive shields. On the ground, human soldiers and Thalren volunteers worked side by side, preparing for the inevitable. The galaxy had seen humans fight to save others. Now it would see them fight to save their own world. The Vorath Armada arrived in orbit like a black tide. The flagship, larger than any human or Thalren vessel, led the fleet. Its hull was armored with a material that refracted light and energy alike. On its bridge, Overlord Kareth seethed with fury. "Earth will burn," he bellowed. "Their planet, their people, everything will be ashes." His generals hesitated, afraid of underestimating the humans. But Kareth was determined. No mercy, none. The battle began. Vorath weapons lit the void, striking at Earth's orbiting fleet. Explosions erupted, painting the darkness with fire and smoke. Yet the humans did not panic. They moved like a single organism, every ship in formation, every pilot knowing exactly where to be. The Resolute led the charge, cutting through Vorath escorts with precise railgun volleys. Fighter squadrons darted through the chaos, striking at Vorath command ships with daring maneuvers that no AI could predict. "Sir," Vorath flagship firing on New York's shield. A crew member shouted. Ward didn't flinch. "All batteries to planetary defense. Activate the countermeasures." Below, the Thalren and humans watched as the shield shimmered under the onslaught. Vorath plasma bounced harmlessly off the energy barrier, giving civilians time to evacuate. The combined effort of human engineering and Thalren science made Earth a fortress. As the battle raged, Ward noticed something troubling. The Varth flagship had entered hyperboost mode, making it nearly impossible to target with normal weapons. Its plan was to strike at the heart of Earth's fleet and break their morale. He turned to his tactical officer. "Prepare the special fleet formation. It's time to show them what Deathworlders can do." The humans moved as one. Smaller ships swarmed the flagship, drawing its fire. Larger cruisers fired from multiple angles, creating a crossfire impossible to avoid. Drones and fighter squads attacked its engines, shields, and weapon ports simultaneously. From the surface, Earth civilians and Thalren allies looked up at the sky. They saw humans dive into danger, often risking their own lives to protect others. And slowly, hope turned into belief. Belief that the Varth, no matter how powerful, could be defeated. Inside the Varth flagship, alarms blared. Kareth's face twisted in rage. They cannot hold. But Earth held. The Resolute, piloted by Ward himself, maneuvered through a gap in the flagship's defenses. A single railgun round, traveling faster than the eye could follow, struck the Varth flagship's core. The ship shuddered violently, sparks flying from every surface. Explosions rippled through its decks, sending fragments of armor and metal into space. Kareth's roar echoed one final time before the flagship broke apart, drifting in pieces through the void. The Varth fleet faltered, leaderless and confused. Ward saw the opportunity. "All ships full assault. Drive them from our space." The human fleet surged forward. Varth ships, now disorganized, could not withstand the precision and courage of the Deathworlders. One by one, they fell, retreating into the blackness of space. When the battle ended, silence filled the galaxy. Earth's fleet had survived. The planet below was safe. The Varth were defeated, their empire broken. Across the stars, smaller races began to hope again. The Thalren, who had once faced extinction, were free. Ward stood on the viewing deck of the Resolute, looking at the scattered remains of the Varth fleet. Behind him, Liren appeared, smiling faintly. "You did it," she said softly. Ward shook his head. "No, we did it. Humans, Thalren, everyone who fought together. That's what made the difference." She looked at him, eyes wide. "Your people, you fight not for glory, not for power, but for others. I don't think any of us have ever seen anything like it." Ward smiled quietly. "Maybe that's what makes humans dangerous and strong." The news of Earth's victory spread like wildfire. Across the galaxy, traders, explorers, and diplomats carried the story. Humans were no longer just Deathworlders. They were legends. A species that could survive anything, adapt to any threat, and protect those in need, no matter the cost. Even Kareth's few surviving generals told stories of the humans' bravery and strategy. They called them unstoppable, unpredictable, and relentless. Some whispered fearfully that no empire could ever challenge Earth without first learning the same lesson. Humans answer mercy with strength, courage, and fire. Back on Earth, life slowly returned to normal. Cities rebuilt. Children laughed again. Thalren scholars studied human technology and ways of thinking. Humans told stories of the battles, of the friends they had made, and of the enemies they had faced. Yet for Commander Ward, the battles had not changed the core of humanity. They did not fight for conquest. They fought for survival, for justice, for mercy. And in that truth lay their greatest power. He looked up at the stars, thinking of the countless civilizations still in danger. "The galaxy is wide," he said softly. "And somewhere out there, someone else might need help. And if they call, we'll answer." The Thalren, standing beside him, nodded in agreement. Together, they had learned that hope and courage could shine, brighter than any weapon. The galaxy had witnessed it. The Deathworlders of Earth, the ones who answered mercy's call, not with hesitation or negotiation, but with unbreakable courage. And the legend of humanity had only just begun.